How's it going, everybody? This is the Stimulus Check Hub here to give you your daily stimulus check and unemployment benefits updates and the latest information. If you are new to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. A like and a comment are always appreciated. Also, if you wouldn't mind sharing this with your friends and family, because I'm sure they would also like the most up-to-date information on their stimulus checks and unemployment benefits available anywhere on YouTube, which is what I try to provide here on this channel.
President Biden said yesterday that our economic strategy has worked, and it's still working. He said that we created 6.7 million jobs last year. Unemployment is down to 3.8%. Our economy grew at 5.7% last year, and we reduced the deficit by $360 billion last year. That's exactly what he said yesterday. Now, in addition to that, we also know that the average worker received a 7% wage increase, which is very good. This actually amounts to about $3,250 per year on average. Home values grew by 14%, and that is at the average rate of about $50,000 per home, which is great also. And the stock market increased by 27%. So, if you had a job, you owned a home, or you had any stocks, you probably did very well. If you did not have any of those things, then you are most likely hurting. Now, all these things are great that we're seeing a lot of an economic rebound. That's great. But now we have to tackle the biggest problem. That is inflation. Now, how we go about doing this is going to be interesting to say the least, because one of the biggest increases that we have seen over the past really 6 months to the past year has been in gas prices. Oil is going up, gas is going up, our demand is going up. We are coming out of this pandemic, so guess what? People want to travel. Well, regarding gas prices and easing the pain at the pumps for Americans, what we have seen is many people have been asking, why are we not receiving any more relief? Why is there not additional assistance coming our way? And I completely understand where you're coming from, because yes, more relief is needed. But here's what I can tell you at this time. Right now, the White House has actually considered sending out prepaid gas cards, but they actually decided against this because, according to reports, it would not be targeted enough. It would be a poor use of funds, as it would not have it would not bring prices down. It would give people more money to go and buy more gas, which means prices would actually go up. And here's the other issue, and this is one of the biggest ones. According to reports, it would actually put the responsibility to send out these gas vouchers or gas cards. It would put that responsibility on the IRS, which at this time, they're currently in the middle of a 2021 tax season, so there's no way they could drop what they're doing, move over to a tax card or a gas card, send those out to the American people without missing a beat. There would be additional delays with the tax returns for 2021. So, many people are actually against this idea. Now, that's not the only idea. That's not the only proposal that has been out there. We've also seen over the past couple of weeks that there has been a couple proposals. We learned last week that there is a proposal to take large oil companies' profits, give some of that money back to the American people through a quarterly stimulus check. Now, this didn't get the support that I think many people were hoping for because of one thing. The money that was going to fund the bill, it was coming from a 50% tax on profits for these large oil companies. It's not pure profits, okay, but on certain profits. And that's where many people said, absolutely not, that is way too high, too much, not going to happen. Okay. Well, then yesterday, we saw a new proposal to send $100 per person per month to Americans. This was a way to relieve pain at the pumps. Now, I did a full video on this just yesterday. Okay, if you didn't get a chance to go and watch that, I will link to it down in the description box below. But, as I mentioned yesterday, the reason why this bill, or this proposal, is going to have a tough time passing is actually pretty simple. In this bill, it is saying that we're going to give $100 per child per month for additional support. Now, I believe this is where this bill is going to fail, because as this proposal is taking the gas situation and combining it with the expiration of the child tax credit payments, I believe that's where we're going to have issues. Because moderates, they want to relieve pain at the pumps, but at what expense? They want to provide the child tax credit payments, but they also want to fix the language where you have to work in order to receive the payments. And so if you're just saying any individual that makes less than $75,000 per year gets a $100 gas card plus $100 per dependent that you have on your tax return. Well, that doesn't mean you're working, so the language has to be fixed. So at this time, the Biden administration, they look like they're going to continue to try to find a way to lower this burden of rising gas prices as well as prices across the board, but we just don't know exactly how they're going to do this. So we will see. Now, even though the Biden administration is supposedly looking into this, okay, there's still a lot that many are still wanting done. Right now, we've gone 3 months without the child tax credit payments getting extended, and that has caused more than 4 million children to go back into poverty, which is not great. We've also seen fixed income households, especially those on Social Security. They are now forced to budget more strictly as a result of higher prices for food, for medicine, for rent, utilities, and so much more. And little has been done to help out these two groups just recently. Really, very little has been done over the past 2 years for people on Social Security and fixed incomes. But we are still hearing a lot about the possibility of student debt forgiveness, and we should have answers on this very soon. My expectation is we're going to have answers within the next month, but according to White House Chief of Staff Ron Klain, he says we will have answers on this before the payment pause expiration, which is actually May 1st. So it is coming up. But again, this is just another thing that would benefit a set group of people. And that's what we're seeing is anything that's being proposed right now has to be extremely targeted. If it is not, it will not get much support. So as soon as we know more about this possibility of additional relief, I promise I'll be back on here to fill you in on all latest news and updates. But let's get into the Russia and Ukraine news for today. And I want to touch on this because it looks like we're coming to a, I don't want to say an end. I don't think we're coming to the end of this Russia-Ukraine conflict. What I believe is we're coming to that kind of the fork in the road. Is Russia going to have the resources to continue on? The expectation is no. All the reports indicate no, that they won't. And as soon as Ukraine gets the additional U.S. Weaponry, which could happen very soon, well, as soon as they get that, that could actually deter Russia even more. All right. So here's what I can tell you: we are coming to a somewhat of a resolution. Is Russia going to back out, or is Ukraine going to surrender? It's going to be one of the two. Now, earlier today, a pro-Putin Russian tabloid, they accidentally released the numbers of how many Russian soldiers have lost their lives due to the invasion. Now, soon after this tabloid stated that 10,000 people have died, the tabloid simply scrubbed this figure from their website. Now, this is obviously Russia trying to do what they can to make sure that their citizens don't know exactly what's going on and make things seem better than what they really are. But according to Ukrainian officials, they have stated that more than 15,000 Russian troops have been killed at this time. So their number is even higher. My expectation is if Russia does release a number, it's going to come closer to 5,000 or less, anywhere between 2,000 to 5,000. That would be my expectation. Now, according to President Biden just yesterday, he stated that Russia plans to use chemical weapons if they can't get what they want from Ukraine. And President Biden stated that Putin's back is against the wall, and now he's talking about new false flags he's setting up, including asserting that we in America have biological as well as chemical weapons in Europe, which President Biden says is simply not true. President Biden also goes on and says they're also suggesting that Ukraine has biological and chemical weapons in Ukraine, that's a clear sign that he's considering using both of those. Which is, he doesn't provide any evidence here, okay, and a lot of times they won't, but just understand this is something that we have seen in the past. That when Vladimir Putin says, okay, this is what we're seeing, what usually happens next is this is what Russia does. Okay, so that's not a good sign. We also know that President Biden has told many companies here in the U.S. to really beef up their cybersecurity, because that's most likely going to be where Russia hits us next, and that hits us here in the U.S. All right, so keep that in mind. If you see a website isn't working, you see something's kind of fishy going on, just understand that could be the start of a cyber attack. All right, so keep that in mind. And if you see something and you want to warn other people as well, come on back here, go down in the comment section and let us know what is going on. Okay, because I do read your comments. I look into these and see, all right, this person saw this, I better do some research on that, and I do. All right, now with all the newest developments that we're seeing right now, Ukraine says they are ready to negotiate, but they want to go negotiate directly with Vladimir Putin. They don't want to kind of go beat around the bush and try and negotiate with others. They want to go directly to the one person that can pull the Russian troops out. Now, the Ukrainian President Zelensky does have demands though, and these are parts of the issue. He wants to see a ceasefire immediately and a withdrawal of Russian troops. And if Russia does this, then he will commit to not joining NATO. Now, Russia has demands as well, but their demands might not be enough to get Ukraine to commit. Now, one of Russia's demands is to see Ukraine commit to not joining NATO. Here's the issue. Russia wants Ukraine to not join NATO, to lay down their arms, make sure that they are not hurting any more Russian troops. And what's going to happen is Russia would then do a ceasefire, and then they would withdraw their troops. Here's the issue. If Ukraine lays down all their weapons, does not fire anything, guess what? They are now very weak. So this is the issue, is who is going to back down first? Now, Russia really wants Ukraine to surrender Mariupol, but that's not something that Ukraine's willing to do. And it's because of this impasse that President Zelensky, he wants Pope Francis to be the one who mediates this negotiation. So it's interesting to see what's happening right now, but what I can tell you, okay, the big news now is we are getting closer. We're getting closer because I think both sides, Russia realizes they don't have a lot of support, they don't have a lot of resources outside of their own stuff. So if they don't have the resources, how long can they continue? According to reports, probably not very much longer. And then Ukraine, they have the resources, they have the support, they have backing, but what they don't have right now is, or what they don't want, is they do not want their citizens being killed over all this. Their infrastructure, being shot down, bombed.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. A like and a comment are always appreciated. Also, if you wouldn't mind sharing this with your friends and family, because I'm sure they would also like the most up-to-date information on their stimulus checks and unemployment benefits available anywhere on YouTube. Have a good one.